There has been no decline in activist activity or protest throughout the streets of Jerusalem after almost a month and a half. Investigations continue into the disappearance of the body of religious leader Jesus of Nazareth, who was brought before Pilate under accusations of tax evasion and heresy only days before the disappearance of his body.
Yeah, I was there when he fed the crowds with the bread and the fish. I mean, I used to follow him, and then he got too controversial or whatever. Everyone saw what he did to our temple. Mr. Pilot?
No comment.
Mr. Pilot?
My office will send out official statement on the events of today.
Are you kidding me? Is it even a question? It's clearly the group of guys who hung around with him. They're the ones who took the body.
I watched him die. The man was innocent.
The 11 remaining disciples are still topping the list of suspects in this ongoing case.
I didn't know the man.
Yo, listen, man, I don't know anything else. Someone just took my place. Yo, get out of my face.
Now 37 days into the investigation, and no closer to a resolution, police are broadening their search to include more suspects.
No! We are his followers. We saw the miracles.
Let's go.
No! They murdered an innocent man.
Many are speculating the deceased followers are behind his body's mysterious disappearance. It's rumored that anonymous tips regarding sightings of Jesus of Nazareth have been steadily flowing into the police department since his death, prompting further rumors that the man may not have died at all.
Morning.
Detective?
She says you've been trying to contact her?
Mary Magdalene?
Magdalene?
Right. Come on in. Have a seat. What's your relationship to the deceased?
I'm one of his followers.
You were there, right?
Yes.
Tell me what happened.
What happened?
Yes, after the crucifixion, after he died. Explain it to me.
After the crucifixion happened, it was a couple of days of nothing. And we woke up early on the third day, and we were going to head to the spot where he'd been buried. We were going to anoint the body. That's what we do after someone passes. And we were talking about how we had no idea how we were going to move the stone. When we got to the tomb, it was open. The stone had just been sort of pushed to the side. And these two men, but not men, they glowed, they radiated this light that I'd never seen before. And I felt Salome grab my arm, and she was shaking, and she was holding on to me so tight that I could feel her nails digging into my skin, but I couldn't look away from the men. And they said, he's not here. He's risen.
Now, I'm sure you realize how insane that sounds.
You asked me to tell you what happened.
You know, if you lie to me, you're perverting the course of justice.
I know, I'm telling you the truth.
And then what?
Then the men told us to go and tell the disciples what we'd seen. So we went. We told them what I just told you, and most of them believed us.
Are you aware of the official report given by the guards at the temple?
No, sir.
Guards report that they fell asleep outside of the tomb overnight on the third day after the crucifixion on 19 April. Disciplinary action pending. During the night, the guards reported that followers, known colloquially as disciples of the deceased, came to the tomb and retrieved the body. Feel like changing your answer?
Doesn't change what I saw.
Hard to argue with an official report, though.
If the guards were asleep, how would they have known it was the disciples that took the body?
You know, I know a bit about you. You have a reputation. But I'm willing to hear you out. You recognize these men?
Yeah, of course.
Who are they?
The disciples. They didn't do any of the
I know, I heard you. But you have to admit, it would be irresponsible of me not to investigate a group of able-bodied men whose friend's body goes missing.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm
To confirm, you're saying that to your knowledge, none of these men had anything to do with the disappearance of the deceased body.
They didn't, and he's not deceased.
You're confident that there was no foul play among any of the disciples?
Certain.
Let's take a step back. Maybe you can help me understand who this man was.
He's the Son of God. He performs miracles. He heals. He loves. That's what he's about. He's no criminal. People are drawn to him. I've seen it with my own eyes. Lots of people have seen it.
I've been trying to contact you for 6 weeks. How come you're only coming in now?
Honestly, helping you solve this non-mystery wasn't really high on my priority list.
Sure, plenty of your friends, these disciples, were able to make time to talk to me, though.
Able to make time? You brought most of them in handcuffs.
We have reason to believe they're involved with the disappearance. Valid reason. I need you to explain to me why
I can't keep having this conversation. We're talking in circles.
Mary, I want to show you something.
He told us exactly what was going to happen to him. John, Peter, and I went up with him into the mountain, and I don't know. It was transformative. Then he started telling us all this stuff about how he was going to die, which was confusing enough. But then he said he was going to rise again. None of us knew what to make of that. We weren't sure if he meant literally or not. Turns out he did.
We were on our way to Emmaus. Me and my buddy. This was just a few days after Jesus died. We're talking about the same thing everyone else in Jerusalem was talking about when this guy appears beside us. Starts walking with us, you know? He says, "What are you guys talking about?" And we laugh because it's kind of weird that he doesn't know this story. But then he starts quoting all these old scriptures and prophecies about Jesus dying on the cross and rising again, and I'm thinking to myself, who is this guy? So we get to where we're going, and obviously we invite him in. I mean, where else is he supposed to go? We sit down to eat, and then he prays for us, and right before we dig in, we realized it's him. Him, sitting across the table from us, as alive as I am right now.
He's an exceptional man, my son. It's a true miracle.
I mean, I couldn't believe it. I actually put my fingers into his wounds on his side.
Best we could guess, it was kind of like he was trying to help us. Battle our enemies or something. But he just kept saying, you know, he was sent into the world to save it. That he was going to die and rise again.
Why did you show me that?
Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that he is who you say he is and that what you said happened actually happened. How? How is it all possible?
You're asking me to explain in human terms something that's beyond human understanding. The healings, the miracles, the resurrection. If you don't believe them, there's nothing I can say that's going to make you believe that any of it happened.
You're gonna want to see this.
You're free to go.
Check out the 4.5-minute mark.
Sure, if I tell you right now, to your face, I saw him face to face.
Don't believe it. Okay, I get it. You don't want to believe it's true because what if it's not? But I promise you, it's him. He's alive.
So why didn't he just appear to one of us first?
I don't know.
It makes no sense. You know, I have a hard time believing all this stuff.
This stuff.
Yes, it's so much easier to believe when you can see the miracle, see the healing. Do you know what I mean?
Jesus.
These people are insane. What do you make of it? Special effects?
How familiar are you with this case?
Follow along with the news like everyone else?
Can I show you some interrogation footage?
Yeah, I mean, of course.
These interviews were taken a week after the body disappeared.
Yeah, well, it's easy. They brought me in to help seal the tomb. Our team was hired to do a job, and the job was to come in and make sure that no one could break the tomb. We took the stone, we crafted it, and they call it, the kind of stone they wanted, they call it a cork-shaped stone. There's this other thing they made us do. They made us put this seal over the tomb. It's the Roman seal, and it's pretty serious. What happens is if anyone ever actually breaks the seal, they're put to death. But they had the seal, they had the guards, but truthfully, the stone should have been enough.
Interesting, right?
Expert witnesses are paid off to make statements like that all the time.
Can you state your name for the record?
Joseph of Arimathea.
Can you tell me what happened after Jesus died?
I can. When it was confirmed that Jesus was gone, I felt something suddenly come over me. I never more clearly knew exactly what I needed to do. I went directly to Pilate, and I told him I wanted the body.
Is it true that he was buried in your personal tomb?
It is. Although from what Jesus had told us, I got the impression that he wouldn't be needing it for very long.
There are plenty of witnesses. People saw the whole conversation between him and Pilate. People saw them inter the body.
Sure, but that doesn't actually prove anything. You're not trying to prove that the body didn't end up in a tomb. You're trying to figure out where it went.
I know, I guess I find it interesting that this is the hill that Joseph is choosing to die on. It could destroy his whole professional reputation.
Well, there's no such thing as bad press.
So in your opinion, should Jesus have been killed?
Look, under oath, my statement would be that he shouldn't have been killed. Did he have a couple slip-ups? In my mind, yes. But did it merit him being killed? No, I don't think so.
What do you mean by slip-ups?
He didn't pay his taxes, and he referred to himself as king. If he'd just played by the rules, he would have been able to continue to preach his truth and flown under the radar. But my hands were tied. I had to do something.
Which one of those slip-ups informed your final decision?
It's more complicated than that, but I think the answer you're looking for is the greatest mistake he made was openly referring to himself as King of the Jews.
The nature of that mistake being?
It made him a political threat in some people's eyes, but I couldn't confidently say that he was going to be a problem. He just as easily could have been a nut. Or he was telling the truth.
Right.
So I did what I had to do in my position. I gave it to the people.
And then what happened?
I gave them a choice. I could release Jesus, or I could have him crucified in the place of a prisoner who was set to be crucified. They made the choice.
There was one other thing I wanted to ask. You made the call on what would be posted as the notice of what Jesus' crime was. What did you have them write?
Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews.
Not claim to be the King of the Jews?
King of the Jews.
Something wasn't right about him in that video.
Yeah, he seemed...
Guilty.
Maybe it was nerves. I'm guessing that the documentation that proved that this Jesus guy was a tax evader turned out to be forged.
Correct.
Oh yeah, I'd be backpedaling too. The optics on that aren't great. This Jesus guy may have been unhinged, but he wasn't technically a criminal. It's a bad plot twist for Pilate.
I get what you're suggesting.
Maybe he wanted the body gone too. Erase himself from this narrative that these Jesus freaks were telling about him. Give them another story to tell.
Why the inscription? King of the Jews. Watch this one.
Wasn't my first crucifixion. Wasn't my second or my third or my fourth. You get used to them. This one was on a Friday. It had already been about 6 hours. It was getting close to the Sabbath. Wasn't a surprise when the order came down from Pilate to break their legs.
What does that do?
Makes it impossible for anyone to take a breath when they can't bear weight on their legs. Speeds the whole thing up. It was my turn, so first the guy on the right, then the guy on the left. By the time I got to him, you could tell he was already gone. But my CO said we had to be sure. Honestly, by that time, I just wanted to get out of there. It wasn't right.
Witnesses on the scene reported that you were overheard saying something the moment Jesus died.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what you said?
He was innocent. He was the Son of God. Is that everything?
Hard to watch.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, but you obviously can't prove that there's any validity to what they're saying. Can't close a case on one soldier's gut feeling. There's a logical explanation with no real proof to back it up. Can I be honest with you? I know you've been at this a long while and the press is just like breathing down your neck. Seems like you're fixating a lot on your emotional responses and treating them unstable people. You're not looking at the total impact of the case. The man had overzealous followers who did anything. I'll leave you to it.
By the time I got to him, you could tell he was already gone. He was the Son of God.
He told us exactly what was going to happen to him. Then he said he was going to rise again.
I got the impression that he wouldn't be needing it for very long.
We realized
It's him. It's a true miracle.
He died to save us. He died to save us. Save us. Save us.